Welcome to another episode of Astral Auto Repairs. If we can't repair it, nobody can. Today we got a 1999 Lincoln Navigator that we're going to be showing you how to replace the fuel pump. The fuel pump is located inside the gas tank, so you got to take the gas tank out. Two aspects of Astral Auto Repairs. One, we can diagnose the vehicle, tell you what's wrong with it, and we can fix it. Or two, a lot of times the customers will just hire us just to change the part, which this is the case. Being that that's the case, we can't offer any kind of warranty or guarantee because we didn't diagnose it. You're just hiring us just to change the part. And two, we can't get the part because we deal with Fisher Auto Parts store, and we got a good rapport with them. So we don't like to get no parts and have to exchange it or turn it back because of a misdiagnosing not on our part. So with that being said, let's get down here and set this up, and we're going to show you what's the first steps, second steps, all the way beginning and end. All right, we'll be right back. All right, the first thing you want to do on a lot of Lincolns is disable the air suspension, because if you don't, you're going to jack it up. You can mess up these air shocks, and they could be pretty expensive. So on this one, we're going to go on to the passenger side of the vehicle, open the door. Oh, it's got a couple stuff in it, but I'm going to move this stuff out of the way, get this jack out of the way. Now I'm going to go to the other side of the vehicle because I want you to be able to see right down here the kick panel. So let me go on the other side. Okay, way down here. And actually, you see fuel reset right there. Way in the back. This one's kind of messed up. Can't even hardly see in here. And this one might not even have air suspension, so that'd be good. Okay, usually there's a button back here, a little lever to cut off, and it'll say air suspension. And you just cut the switch off before you jack up the car. Now, being that I don't see it over here, what I'm going to do, just to be sure, I'm going to pop open the back hatch and look on the right side of the vehicle and check that. But while we're over here, it's a good thing to show you. Right here, there's a little switch. This is called a fuel switch. Now, what happens is, if the car gets into an accident, this will shut the fuel pump off so the car don't explode. Sometimes this is a bad location, and Lincoln changed it, because if somebody gets in the car over here, they can kick this by mistake and set that off, and the car will shut off. And if it does, there's a little red button right on top. You just push it in to reset it. All right, we're going to go to the back of the vehicle and check it out and see if there's one. We'll be right back. All right. We looked in the back. There's no suspension switch, so just to be sure, I want to look up under here. And if you notice, like right here, these are coil springs. So no, it doesn't have air suspension, so I don't have to worry about that. What we're going to do now is jack this vehicle up from the back and secure it with jack stands. So what you're going to do is get your floor jack, jack it up right here in the center of the differential. Make sure your differential is not aluminum. If it is, use a wooden block. And I'm going to jack this up and put some jack stands up under it and get this fuel pump out of here. All right, we'll be right back. All right, I'm going to show you how we got this jacked up. We got our hydraulic jack, 2 pieces of wood. Now, we didn't have to put wood up here, but I like that better. We jacked the vehicle up as high as we wanted to. Now, and we set the jack stands up here. We got these jack stands are from AutoZone. And they're 6 ton. You want to make sure you get enough. Let me show you on this side is better. These are 8 by whatever, 8-inch 2x4s. We got them squared right on the block of wood. Because when you want ground like this, you want to have a good foundation, because it will sink into the ground and the vehicle come on, jump right on top of you. All right. And we got it going up, and it's right inside the middle of the axle, the rear end differential is right in the middle of the thing, holding it in. And then we let the car down on it. Now, we are not removing the hydraulic jack right now. We're gonna leave it right there as added security. It's much better than just taking it out and trusting this. But what I noticed over here is my jack stand is a little bit off of the wood, so we're gonna reset that. And what I want you to do is, if you can, these are the spare tires up here. To get to the lines, the gas lines in the back of the tank, you can probably reach up there, but you know, and get your hand in here, and I'm gonna show you that in a few minutes. But it'll be a lot easier if you took the spare tire out. Okay, we'll be right back. All right, what we're gonna do to make this easy, we're gonna just drop this spare tire in the back. So if you got a Lincoln or something, pop your hatch open. You got a little access panel right here. A lot of times there'll be a little cover going on this, and you're gonna pull this cover off. Then you want to get a long bar that's going to be located inside the vehicle, up under the rear seat. It's a long bar, like a little crank handle. And as you see the tip of it, it's a little bit of curve to it. And what you want to do is put that down in there, and you're going to feel it like go into like a slot. Then you want to take the handle and crank it counterclockwise, and have somebody watch to make sure the tire's dropping down there. All right, so as I crank it, you see, and this, you can use this procedure also in case you got to change a tire. And you want to bring that down enough. Take this out. We're going to set this back in the back of the car. Close our hatch down. What you want to do is, you see right there, that's the piece that we just let down. So we want to pull it out this way, turn it, bring it through the tire. Let's take the tire from under the vehicle. And you can just let this hang, or if it's in your way, you just look up under here somewhere. And I'm gonna just stick it right there between the bumper. Okay, and that's out of my way. See, now we got a better look at what we got to do over here. The next thing we're going to do is, if you take a look up here, you might want to get on top up here, because this is where we're going to do that. So here's our gas, here's our fuel tank right here. So what we need to do is, yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Look at that. What we're gonna do is, right here we got this big hose. We gotta loosen up this clamp, pull this hose off. This hose goes to the filler neck. When you put your gas in, it goes through here. And then we have another breather hose right over here. We're gonna loosen up that clamp and pull that hose back. Then we're gonna start getting to the fuel pump. All right, so let's get us a flat screwdriver. Put some gloves on. And we're gonna pop those two off. All right, we'll be right back. Okay, got a little screwdriver here. I know it looks cheesy and all, but it's gonna work. So let's get you a regular screwdriver, flat tip. There's two screwdrivers, flat tip and 4-way, or Phillips they like to call it. This is a flat screwdriver. So let's go up here and loosen up these clamps. Loosen them enough to get that clamp off of there, off of the hose. It looks like I gotta go more. Okay, and now we should be able to, whoa, I don't know what's going on here, but somebody, now that was not supposed to happen. That gas coming out of there, which means somebody messed up this this tank. because that should not be like that at all. Wow. And so what I'm gonna have to do is I'm gonna have to go and show the customer what's going on here, because that's really messed up. All right, in the meantime, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put that clamp back down there, and what I'm gonna do is loosen it up from up here. But I gotta let the customer know, because we're not getting blamed for anything. All right. And as you can see, now I can be able to pull that hose back and make sure no gas is coming out of there. All right. Now we're gonna get to our other hose over there. And got that off. All right, now you see that this hose is just hanging off over here. That hose, see, this is what I mean by backyard mechanics. You know, a lot of backyard mechanics are good, but I got a lot to give people a bad name. This is the vent tube right here. See how it's just hanging here? And if you look over here, you see you can see that they just put the thing up there and left it disconnected. That's supposed to be connected to that, but they just left it disconnected. So these people are something else. All right, so when we come back, what I'm going to do is tighten this back up. I'm gonna go get the customer and show the customer before we continue. All right, we'll be right back. All right, we just explained to the customer what was going on. And you know, the problem is this thing is part of the fuel tank, so if he fills it up, it's going to leak. If he makes hard right or left turns, it's going to leak. You know, and that's a fire hazard. He's really going to need a fuel tank. So and now what's weird about it, I asked him how much gas is in the car. He's at about 1/4 of a tank. This is on top of the gas tank right here. So when I move this, I shouldn't be getting no gas coming out of here from the 1/4 of a tank. So let me sort of look at this and see. Oh, I guess it's not leaking now, but in case it did, we would have to start draining this tank. All right, next what we're gonna do is, now that we got our jack stands up into here secure, we're gonna go around, and if you look right here, there's a bolt. That bolt's holding up this gas tank strap. There should be a bolt on this side and a bolt on the other side, which we're about to show you. Yeah, right up there by the drive shaft. That's the rest of that strap. So what the theory here is to take that strap out and let the gas tank. And if you take them, there's this pry bar. We're gonna take, there's a strap here and a strap over here. So we're going to take this strap out and let the gas tank drop down and hang with the other strap, and maybe we can get our fuel pump out of there. We might have to take out the other strap, don't know, but then we're going to have to use the hydraulic jack. But we're going to let the jack down anyway. Now you want to let this down carefully, make sure your wood is on, everything is on. Let this down carefully. As you can see, the jack stand's got the vehicle. Now, let's use one wood. And when we come back, we're going to take this hydraulic jack and set it up on the side of the gas tank. And we're going to go and take those screws out of there. Matter of fact, while you're right here, we might as well get to this first bolt up here, which is a 13mm. So let me set that up, set the tools up, and I'm going to show you what we're going to use. And we'll be right back. All right, here's our gas strap right here, gas tank strap. And you notice this one is going to have 3 bolts on it. One over there, the first one we saw before, 2 over here, and number 3 over here. So what I'm going to do is set this piece of wood up over on the jack, hydraulic jack. And we're going to... Now, it is very important to have this vehicle securely held up by the jack stands. Don't get no cheesy jack stands. Get some good jack stands, because, you know, this is a lot of weight coming down. Any vehicle is a lot of weight, but you want to make sure that the vehicle's up in the air. All right, and what we're going to do here is put a little pressure on it, just like that, and leave it. All right, so let's go. Now we're going to get a 13mm socket with some extensions, and I'm going to show you, and we're going to take those 3 bolts out. All right, we'll be right back. All right, you know, just to be on the safe side, we're going to drain some gas out of this vehicle. Which I got here is I made me a homemade pump, and you want to make you one of these, because it's a very good invention. Different kind of electric fuel pumps you can get, depending on the PSI, 5 PSI, but that's going to pump too slow. So I got pretty much here one. This is like a 10 or 15, 10 to 14 PSI pump. Local auto parts store, Fisher Auto Parts. The part number is E8153. So once you get you a pump like that. Here I got about 4 feet of 5/8 gas line hose on one side, and again on the other side. Then I hooked up a lot of wire to it, you know, so I can reach up to the battery. And on each end, got little alligator clips, so I can connect it to the battery. So let me show you how we do this. Because, you know, a lot of times you're going to be doing this and your gas tank might be full. You know, taking down a gas tank when it's full ain't no joke. Alright, so what we're going to do here is go over here. Alright, and I want you to join me up under the vehicle. Now, on this pump, you got an inlet and outlet. This is the part that's going to be sucking in the gas. So what we want to do is, up here where we took off this hose, put this hose in there. If it makes this turn, and there we go. Put that in there just like that. Let's have our pump sit to the side over here. And then let's go out and show you how we're going to hook this up. What you want to do is get you an empty garbage can. Make sure it's clean inside. I'm going to hook this right here. So now it's ready to pump out. So what we do, and this is why I made this wire so long. I'm going to walk over here to the front of the vehicle. Go to this battery. Hook up positive and negative. And we go back. And we see if this tank is full, we're going to start pumping gas out of here. Now if it don't, like it ain't right now, we'll go up under here and move the hose around to make sure we are into the gas. Anything coming out of there?
Nope.
Alright, good. So it might be low. Might be only a quarter of a tank. So what I'm gonna do is disconnect the pump. And we're gonna leave that right there. And over here, here's you're gonna need the tools you're gonna need to get that first strap out. I got an air gun. If you don't have an air gun, get yourself an air ratchet or a regular ratchet. These bolts look like they're 13mm sockets. Here's a Craftsman. I got a 1/2" drive because I'm going to be using the air gun. And just in case it's not a 13, I got a 14. Another important tool you want to get is a wobble extension. See how the extension is made like that instead of like a regular extension straight? It's wobble. I like those because what happens is if you got to get a bolt at an angle, snap these on. See that? It can wobble either way and get it. But on the other one, that's it. It's straight. Unless you got this swivel, which is more. Right, and then we're going to get us an extension. I got the wrong extension here. I got a 3/8 extension. 3/8 is, see how small it is compared to the 1/2". So I need another 1/2" drive. These gnats are kicking on the butt, man. Alright, so I'm going to go get another 1/2" drive extension. And then we're going to start taking these bolts out. Alright, we'll be right back. Alright, first bolt we're going to get is this 13mm bolt right here. So I'm going to hook up both my extensions. Get my edge in here. Let's get this bolt out. Alright, that's one. Get yourself a little box or a little bucket or something, because we got a lot of grass around here, so it's easy to lose a bolt. We're going to put these bolts in there. Alright, I'll meet you on the other side. We're going to take out the other 2 bolts. Alright, we'll be right back. Alright, this is the second bolt on the strap. 13mm. Something is definitely wrong here. Man, I hope they didn't strip that out. You know, but in case they... Let me get a socket on this thing. Okay. Alright, there's our second bolt. And I got our box over here from the fuel pump our fuel pump. Throw it in there. Alright, let's get to the one more bolt on the other side of the strap. Okay, we'll be right back. Alright, there's our final bolt. And what we're going to do here, that wobble extension that I was telling you about, we're going to try to use that. Okay, turn it to get comfortable here. Alright, we're going to... So you see how our wobble extension fits up there just for that little turn if we need. So I know that's going to work. So let me hook up my air gun. As you can see, the wobble might be stripping off because of the angle that it's at. There it is. Okay, it's out. Good. All right, now we're good to go on that. Now what I want you to do is back up a little bit, and I'm going to show you. You know what? Matter of fact, what I'm going to do here is over here we're going to loosen up. Put this bolt in there. We're going to loosen these up. The other strap bolts. We're not going to take them out. Just going to loosen them up, just so this tank can really swing. I loosened that too much, so I'm going to put it in by hand, just a couple of threads, and then I'm going to go over here and do this bolt. Loosen it up. Wow, that tank feels kind of empty. that would suck if he was out of gas. All right. Oh well. Hey. Oh well. All right. So Yeah, that's got nothing in it. So we're good to go. All right. Now what I'm gonna do here is let this jack down over here. And you see how that tank drops down? Yeah, that's what we want. That's what I'm talking about. All right, let's go back to the back of the vehicle. I'll get up under it and look at the top of the tank, and I'm gonna show you how we're gonna disconnect everything else. All right, we'll be right back. All right, the next part, what you're gonna need is get your raggedy looking screwdriver, like I got. And this is a nice set. This is a fuel and transmission line disconnect set. This is from Matco, but you can probably find one at Harbor Freight, I'm not sure. Or you can get little plastic ones, little cheap ones, and believe me, a lot of times the cheap ones, the little plastic ones work a lot better than these set. Alright, because we got two different gas lines over here, and what these tools do is they open up, go around the gas line, close up. We push that into the connector to release the spring and pull the gas lines apart. I know that don't sound like what the heck he's talking about, but I'm gonna show you in a minute. All right, let's go to the top of the gas tank and let me show you. All right, way back here, up under the gas tank. Here we go. Yeah, this is gonna be the fun part. First of all, what you want to do is find your connector over here, which I should have disconnected that over there. But this is the connector going to the fuel pump and the fuel pressure sender and fuel tank pressure sender. That little tab right there. I'm gonna push that little tab in and unplug it. Alright. Now, take your little screwdriver. You got these little connectors, these little safety clips right here. What it does is, just in case that line snaps apart, it'll hold it into place. So what you're gonna do is just snap them off. Yeah, give me a minute, because this ain't gonna be no. There we go. And let's get to the other one. Alright, now see, still those lines ain't coming off. That's just a safety. So now we get our little tools. And just from experience, I know that one's going to be a 3/8 and this one's going to be a 5/16. So we come over here to our tools, and they actually got the measurements on them. This one's a 1/4 inch. There's the 5/16, and that one's kind of gone. There is 3/8. No, yeah, this is a 3/8. Trust me, it's a 3/8. Alright, so let's get these two. Let me show you how that works. Okay, we got the 3/8 one right here. Here's the connector. So what we're going to do is just open that up and get that on the line. Push that in to the line as much as it'll go. And that line's going to come right off. You know, it's good to have use two hands on this, but I'm gonna try to do this one. You know, let me get the 5/16 first. Get that out of my way. How easy that was. This one is giving me a hard time because I'm moving the gas tank. There we go. Okay. Now you don't need the tools to put them back on. To put them back on, that's all you do is push them in and they'll snap into place. Alright, next, this fuel pump is held on by a big plastic ring here, and that ring unscrews. There is a special tool for that, but you don't even need the special tool. Matter of fact, let me see if this is loose from the last mechanic. No. Okay, so what I want you to do is get you a long pry bar and a hammer. Alright, let me go get that and we'll be right back. Okay, what you do Get you a nice long pry bar or a screwdriver. I like a pry bar because the handle's not, the tip is not as pointed as a screwdriver. So you can get this at any auto parts store. Go down to your local Fisher Auto Parts and get you a regular hammer. As you can see, the Stanley hammer. It don't have to be no mechanic hammer or nothing. And let's go up here and I'm gonna show you what we're gonna do. Now on this tank, gotta be careful about this. You see these ridges? That's what we're gonna be tapping on. But you gotta be careful not to hit it so much as to break them off. And you're gonna just line that, get that up lined up with one of those ridges. Get your hammer and you just wanna start tapping it to get that thing, get that cap to move. You see the cap is moving. Go over to another one, to the side this time. Now, I want to see if you can get that to turn now. There we go. Now this is might be spring loaded, the tank, the fuel pump. So just unscrew that carefully. And you see, there we go. Cap off. Let's take that cap off. And we're gonna just work. Now pay close attention to where the lines are. You notice they're facing out towards the outside of the vehicle. We're gonna just take our pump out of here. You're gonna get a little gas spilling everywhere, so just be careful. Okay, let's go this side. You want to watch yourself because there's going to be some gas dripping. Okay, let's get out of here and go out there and get this fuel pump changed. All right, we'll be right back. All right, here's our fuel pump assembly. This right here is your fuel sender. So as this pump sets inside, this thing is a little float right here. So as you put gas in the vehicle, this rises up and causes your gauge to go up through a ground circuit. But back to our fuel pump. Now what you're gonna do, get your little raggedy screwdriver and let's loosen up this clamp. These gnats are bothering the mess out of me. Okay. Now we'll get over here. Looks like about an 8mm socket. So let's get us an 8mm socket and loosen it up. All right, we'll be right back. Okay, we're back. We got our 7mm socket. Now I can't find my 1/4" drive 7mm. So what I have is an extender instead of reducer, an expander 1/4" drive to 3/8. Got my 3/8 drive, 7mm socket here. 7mm. And what we're going to do here, get our little 1/4" drive ratchet. You can get these sets cheap at an AutoZone, Harbor Freight. I mean, if you're not going to be doing this for a living, go to Harbor Freight and get you a nice set, really cheap. Pittsburgh, I believe the name brand, and it's supposed to be lifetime guaranteed. All right, so we're going to do here, we got this loose already, this clamp, and this is called a sock or a strainer. So we're going to take this bolt completely out. And fold, bring this clamp over, and on this side, as you can see, it sets in like a slot. Just going to pick it out of that slot, leave it over there to the side. And what we're going to do is, see, I pull the fuel pump up. And then you're just gonna get that. just pull that plug out of here, but that's okay because we're changing that anyway. So let's get that disconnected. Pull that to the side. Right there. Right now, here's the customer's new fuel pump and strainer. A lot of times they're going to tell you to get the strainer because of the warranty. So let's see what we got here. Okay. Looking good. And what's good about this is, see a little harness? They give you a new harness. So what we're going to do here is, let's take off the protective cover. Let's get that one. See the one that matches up to the old one. Pop this little cap off. And as you can see how it's situated, so you got to make sure that when you put this on, it's identical, lines up and everything. Just like that. Alright, let's take this cap off. Let's go ahead and plug our new wiring harness up into this one. There we go. And let's open up our new strainer.
Battery dying. Again.
It's still going? Alright, our battery's dead, so we're gonna put a new battery in. We'll be right back. Alright, we're back. We put the new battery in there. Where were we? Strainer. What the heck? Get our new strainer. Now, wow. You see this strainer is a little smaller than this one, but it's okay. It'll still serve its function. Let me see. This customer went to AutoZone to get these parts. So in case you want to change it, your fuel strainer is going to be part number FS Frank Sam 0108, or if they go by this number, Bobby Frank Sam 0108. That's for your strainer. And for your fuel pump, you can put Frank Edward 0479 or Charlie Frank Edward 0479. Okay? Get that out of the way. Let's hook our strainer up. Now if you notice, in the hole right there, that's where the fuel goes into. And this little tab right there, that's just to hold the strainer on. Got that little tab right there. So you want to make sure those are lined up. And you want to press and make sure that stays on, because if that comes off, it will mess this pump up. You can see it ain't that easy doing this. I hope they gave him the right strainer. You know, now that I'm looking at it, hey, look at this. You see the hole on that strainer, the old strainer? Look at that one. It's little. See, this is, you know, this is what happens when people get their own parts. You know, get the wrong ones. You know, I'm not gonna sit here and. So scratch that part number I gave you. Don't be going and get that, or you're gonna be getting the wrong part. So I'm gonna put this back in there because I ain't gonna be dealing with that. This strainer looks brand new. It is brand new. So we're gonna reuse that one. So now I know why I had a hard time putting it on. All right. So we got this lined up. Let's get this strainer on. There we go. There. Better. All right, now let's get our line up here. Hook our holes in, and now right here, just gotta push that in. Make sure the strainer is on the outside, and you can see the little the groove right there. Just make sure those are lined in, just like that. We're connected. What we'll do is bring our wiring harness over here. Connected. And don't forget to tighten up that screw. Alright, there you have it. We're all done. Put the rest of it together by yourself. I ain't helping you. No, I'm just kidding. Alright, let's get this fuel pump back in there. Got our old one. So stick all this stuff in the bag. Okay. Alright, let's get that fuel pump in there. Be right back. I forgot. Gotta put this clamp back on, holding this fuel pump in place. So we'll go over here. Goes across. Let's get that through there. Hold it in place. 7mm. Let's get that tightened down. It's not super tight, just till it stops, and just a little bit more. Done. That's it. There ain't really no pressure on that or anything. So, all right, let's go put this in. Be right back. All right, before we put the fuel pump in, we got these O-rings. That's to stop the gas from coming out the top of the vehicle. You definitely want to change these. Now in this kit, they give you a bunch of them. We're all different because it goes to show you this pump goes for a lot of different vehicles. So what you want to do is match up the one closest to it. And I'm going to show you something weird here. See, now when I line this up, notice how the old one is bigger than the new one? That's because after so long, these stretch out and they will never fit. In fact, let me show you. Let's go up here to the top of the gas tank. And what you have here is a ring. This little insert right here where this O-ring sets at. Now if I set this ring in here, you notice, see how it sticks out? Like, and this is the old one, so it should work. But because it's stretched out, it ain't no good no more. And sometimes people don't realize that, and they might put it on like this, and they don't see that over here it's leaning over, and they put the fuel pump in there and pouring out gas all over the place. Now watch when I put the new one up there. Now when I put the new one up there, you notice that? Look at that. Now because they had it twisted all up in the bag, kind of sticks up a little bit sometimes. But look at that, fit perfect in there. But we got to be careful setting it down, setting the fuel pump down, and making sure that don't move nowhere. All right, so let's get our fuel pump up here. Now remember, I know that these go out toward the side, but also, in case you don't know, you see these little tabs right here? These are locating tabs on the top of the fuel tank. They're up there, so it lines up right with those. All right, so let's put this fuel pump up here. Now, before I go set it down in there, if you notice right there, there's one of our tabs right there. And then if you run your finger around, I feel my other tab right here. So let's set this down. Now remember your sender. So you want to try to make sure that goes in and don't bend that. Because you know that's how this thing reads gas, so you don't need to bend that. So setting down. Everything's looking good. Our gasket is still in place. We know our fuel pump's going to set over this way. Set right down. That's beautiful. Look at that. Professional. Alright, now what we're going to do, what's next? Right. We get our cap and slowly start that on by hand. Very good. Alright, so what we're going to do is get our wire, put our wiring harness through the cap. Bring it down. Careful not to move the pump so you don't misalign that gasket. And then we're going to slowly start putting that on. Now be careful making sure that thing don't go cross-threaded because this is plastic, so it might take a little bit to get this started. There's something in my way. It's gonna give me a hard time. Yeah, this is giving me a hard time going up here. See, now it started, but I know that's crooked. So I know I'm not gonna continue on putting that on. You know, Ford could have came up with something better than this. Oh, why I gotta deal with this mess. Make sure I'm not. Make sure that pump is still in there. And the reason why I'm going backwards, I'm trying to get this thing to set down evenly. So I'll go reverse and then go forward. And it looks like I might have got it. Oh man. Finally. Well, I think I got it. Go over here by hand and see if I can turn this anymore. Okay. Looks like it's going on. What I'm gonna do is tap it with the screwdriver and see. Make sure that it's getting tight. Saw something jump. I didn't like that too much. Nah, it jumped up, so that's not good for me. Got it set back down in position. Yeah, there we go. Sometimes it's best just to get the tool. But we gotta stand by our motto. We can't repair it. Nobody can. So, okay. Now let's get our pry bar up here. Don't go super crazy with it. Remember, you are hitting on plastic. So you just want to just tap it till you'll feel it stop. Actually, I can hear the dullness of my knocks. So I know I'm really, really close. There it is. Done. All right. Next, let's go up here and we got our 3/8 line. Which one is our? Looking at these 3/8 line over here. That's all you gotta do is, now listen carefully, you'll hear that gonna click in. Now it didn't click yet. So, heard that? Now I know, that's locked in. Let's get our clamp back up here. It's got a mind of its own. Hooks it like that, snaps into place. Alright, let's get our 5/16 line hooked up. Snap into place. Done. Alright, now we got our wiring harness over here. And it might be easier for me to just go up under the car and hook it up over there. Then I can grab two hands. Let me see if I can get this with one hand. Yeah, looks like I did. Let's just squeeze it together to make sure. Alright, we're good to go. We're not going to hook these up yet. What we're going to do is jack the tank up enough to get these other lines hooked up. Alright, we'll be right back. Okay, I'm going to go out here and jack the tank up so I can get these hoses hooked up. So my assistant gonna let me know when I get just in the right range. All right, let me go ahead. All right, let me know when to stop.
Right there.
Now we could have jacked it up all the way, but I want to make sure it's easy for me to get these lines hooked up. And okay, first of all, now one thing that he forgot to hook up is the vent. Now I'm gonna have to jack it up more to get to the vent, but we do have enough to get this vent to the fill tube. Let's get that up there. Let's get our clamp on and get our little raggedy screwdriver and tighten that up. Okay. Looks like we didn't need our pump, so we're gonna pull our pump. Pull our hose out of this. Set that on to the side. And let's get this hooked up. You know, it might be better if we jack it up more. All right, I'm gonna jack it up all the way. Let me know when our measurement gets about that much away. Okay, that much away from the strap to right there. Very close, or probably all the way. Let me know what you know what. Let me know when I'm just touching it.
All right. A little bit more. Right there.
Okay. Yeah, that's good. Now let's over here. Let's get our hose hooked up. Okay, let's get our vent hose hooked up, which he forgot to hook up before. Forget that, man. It's hard to get to. You get disconnected. They'll never know. Till that check engine light come on. Okay. Now let's tighten up our clamp over here. Okay, we're going to tighten up this clamp, and then we're going to get our 3 bolts back into the bracket, and we're all done. All right, let's get that done, and we'll be right back. All right, got a little box of our 3 bolts here. And what we're doing is we're just going to put these in, just start them off by hand, just so we know they're all lining up. Now we're going to get your other 2 started off by hand, and then we're going to tighten them with the air gun. All right, we'll be right back. Now remember, on this one I'm about to do now, get your wobble extension. Okay, and don't forget the 2, tighten up the 2 straps over here, the 2 bolts over here. Okay, we're all done. Let's get all our tools from under here and let this vehicle down. All right, so when you're done with that, join me. All right, we'll be right back. There you have it, step-by-step instructions how to change the fuel pump on a 2001 Lincoln Navigator. It's not that bad of a job, you know, but you go to the shop and they can charge you at easily $900 for this. You know, so you save a lot of money doing it yourself. Any questions? Post the comments. Any kind of questions, we'll be glad to answer them. This is Timmy from Astro Auto Repairs. If we can't repair it, nobody can.